Unfortunately, when you are in the position that the Seattle Mariners are in, every loss the rest of the way is going to feel like a dagger. And this certainly felt like a dagger to the season. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners drop a really tough one today, 2-0 to the Cardinals. They fall to 72-71 on the season, and they are now 5.5 back in the division. I think they're 5 back in the wild card because Minnesota beat KC today, so you lose a game on Minnesota, but you gain that hat, or no, you don't gain it. You stay even with Kansas City. All right, if you guys can do me a favor, smash the like button, comment your thoughts down below, and don't forget, first and foremost, to hit that subscribe button. Would love to get to 4,200 here, certainly by the end of the year. That's kind of my goal right now. So thank you again to everybody for the kind comments and support. Truly, truly appreciate it. Yesterday, I talked about how the offense approach looks a lot better under Dan and Edgar. JP talked about after the game, they're kind of simplifying things and that it's helped. And then they lay probably the biggest egg they've laid since these guys have taken over. Kyle Gibson shuts them down for 6 2/3. They're chasing breaking balls all over the place. Very, very little hard contact. Then the few times they do get runners on, they get a bases loaded situation in the first, can't capitalize. They have a bases loaded situation in the 7th, cannot capitalize. They have a runner at second with 1 out in the 8th, cannot capitalize. And, it's just another perfect storm of a mess for the Mariners. And they've been playing good ball the last 3 days. It was good to see them win some games, regardless of where the final outcome of the season is. Like I always say, it's nice to see them win. But, they've put themselves in this position, right? And every loss is magnified right now. When you're in that kind of 3 to 5 range in terms of being back for a playoff spot, you just can't afford to drop many games. Now, listen, you're not going to go 20-0, 19-0 down the stretch, but you got to find a way to be close, right? The Mariners would probably have had to have gone 14-5, 15-5 down this last stretch to get in. So every loss is absolutely magnified, and today becomes more frustrating because Logan Gilbert could not have been better. Frustrating to give that 2-run home run in the 8th, but other than that, Logan just dialed in. And again, back to the themes we've talked about in the past, right? We had a little 3-day break from it, or 4 days, I think, with the day off. But, here it is again. Another starter twirls an absolute gem, quality start, and the Mariners do not lose. 8 innings, 2 earned runs from your starter should be a victory. And it wasn't. It was a loss. So, kind of just back to the Mariners we've talked about, last week in Anaheim, at the end of the Scott tenure, that type of stuff rears its ugly head again today. So, yeah, just very frustrating. Again, listen, you guys know, despite some of my happiness the last 3 days to see them playing better, and I talked about the path to the playoffs, and it's still there. That rope you're hanging on to is very frayed and falling apart. But there's a reason I didn't get too optimistic and too excited about it, because when you're in this position, anytime you lose and the other teams win, it's a death blow. You really cannot have a day where you lose ground. You cannot gain ground and maybe be okay a couple days, but you cannot lose ground. That's another game they've got to make up at some point. So, I'm not going to dive too much into it because I've already have very low expectations that they're going to get in. But yeah, just kind of like I said, a death blow when you have all those teams win and you lose. You just can't afford to have many days like that. Now, listen, you cannot control what other teams do. And that's kind of what I've talked about too. It's been nice to see the team play better, and you let what happens. Had they won today and everybody else wins, you go, it happens. You're just happy to see the team play better. But unfortunately, not a performance outside of Logan, but it's going to be forgotten with the offensive performance. And I'll reiterate too, it's a tough team to talk about a little bit right now, because it's not like we have a couple major league debuts going on or anything. It's not like our number 8th ranked pitching prospect starts tomorrow, or Cole Young makes his debut. So it's kind of the same guys. So, this is going to be a short recap. I just don't have much to say right now with this team. I can rag on the offense. It certainly has been, it looks like the approach has been better. They've been 4th in WRC plus since Dan Wilson's and Edgar have taken over. Today was certainly a reminder that this offense is still not good overall. Let's get in the box score here a little bit, then I'll get out of here. Let's start with the pitching, as we always do. Complete game from Logan Gilbert, 8 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 10 Ks. Obviously frustrating to give it the home run, but that's about as good as you can get. What an embarrassment that Logan Gilbert is 7-11. I think they're 1-9 in their last 10 games. Mariner Sir mentioned that to me. 1-9 in their last 10 games Logan Gilbert started. Now, a couple of those have been on Logan. Has been perfect in that stretch. But today, how are you losing that? Tampa Bay, 6 shutout innings. they lose it. I mean, come on. Same old story, same old, same old. And that is not a losable start. Obviously, wins, losses, not a good way to judge pitchers, but that just goes to show right there. The fact that Logan Gilbert is 7-11 with what, a 3.15 ERA is just a joke. Logan does set a career high in strikeouts on the season. Tremendous season from Logan. But certainly a very disappointing result for him, because it should have been the talk today. Even if they just would have scrapped out 2 runs, maybe Logan doesn't give that home run. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's got to get out of it with a 0. And we're talking about, hey, the offense did just enough, and Logan Gilbert, twirls a gem. So we don't talk about any bullpen guys today. That'll be at least they're rested for tomorrow. I think it's first complete game for the Mariners this season. Certainly not the way we wanted it to be, but I believe that is the first. Not much offensively, 5 hits, 5 walks, 13 strikeouts. Can't let Kyle Gibson strike out 9 over 6 2/3 and not get a run off him, especially in that first inning. You got the bases loaded, 1 out. We got to find a way to get the run in. What did I talk about yesterday? Remember I talked about the Blowers Goldsmith discussion about the sacrifice fly with the Rosarina. And, I thought they had a really good discussion about it. Blowers kind of praising the situational hitting. Goldie kind of questioning, hey, what's, all that stuff. And it was a great discussion. I kind of talked about it too. I said, it looks like this team's been better situational hitting wise. They've done the little things. And listen, obviously everyone wants a grand slam or a double down the line or a triple, or, you want a base hit, keep the line moving. But first and foremost, you just got to get that run in. And they couldn't do that in the first inning. They needed to find a way. Maybe you get that 1 run there, it puts a little pressure on Gibson. Maybe Logan settles in a little bit. Maybe nothing changes. But, it certainly would have been a nice way to start the game. And then to just get blank the rest of the way. Now, Gibson was painting the corners, no doubt there. He pitched well, but you got to find a way to scrap out a couple of runs. So just not a good performance overall. Julio 1 for 5, but Julio had a big spot in that 7th inning, bases loaded against a lefty who has been hit harder by right-handed hitters all year. Julio in that situation needs to find a way to come through. He's certainly been better on this road trip. I thought that was kind of the turning point. I thought the first pitch, he had a good swing at it, but fouled it straight back. Got to straighten that one out and put in the gap, because I think if he straightens it out a little bit, I think that's going into the gap. It's probably 3-0 Mariners, and they probably win this baseball game. Big spot, needed your best guy to come through, or what should at least, in theory, be your best player. Sometimes your better players deserve, what's what I'm looking for, need to be held to higher standards. I'm not going to rip Leo Rivas for not coming through with the base load, but I expect Julio to do it. And if this team is going to make a run, they needed to come through in that spot. And Julio didn't. Like I said, certainly a better road trip overall for Julio, and been better since Edgar has been here, but not an acceptable at bat. Got to find a way to come through in that spot. The rest of the offense, Cal was 2 for 4. Not a bad game for Cal. A couple base hits. Randy was 1 for 4 with the double. Tough game for Rayleigh, 0 for 3 with the walk. Turner 0 for 3 with the walk, but the big strikeout in the first inning. Polanco 0 for 3 with the walk. Man, for a while there, it looked like Polanco would really heat it up, and it was kind of, hey, do you pick up his option for next season? And it was kind of like, yeah, maybe you do. I'm kind of back to no now. It's tough, right? Because I know it sounds crazy. Polanco's had a great year. Why would you pick up a $12 million option on him? I mean, if you want to go Cole Young at second, I don't know if Ryan Bliss is your long-term answer there. We'll see. But I don't think, with how much Stanton is willing to spend, I don't know if you're picking up a $12 million option on Jorge Polanco. He had a couple nice months where he looked more dialed in, but he's again sort of just tailed off. You're disappointing, because I think a really strong finish for Polanco, that would have been something to look at. But right now I'd have to lean towards no on that. JP 0 for 4, Haniger 0 for 3, had a walk. Rojas 0 for 2. Nice game for Dylan Moore. Came in pinch hit for Rojas, drew that walk, and had the base hit off Helsley in the 9th inning. So, Demo kept the game alive there. I'm not going to get into Julio too much for that 9th inning at bat. That's a tough at bat there. But that 7th inning one was one where he definitely needed to come through. So, obviously not good enough offensively. Kind of been the story of the season. Not another game that just the Mariners. That's the Mariners, right? If there's about 12, 15 box scores a year, if you could show people to sum up the Mariners, this is another one of them. Great pitching and letting a quality start die. Just stings big time. I had one more point I was going to make, and I forgot it. It popped into my head. Then I lost it. So I don't know. I think that's about all I've got for you. I mean, hopefully they win tomorrow, win a series. Listen, this is not the series, again, that it's like, oh, man, they didn't sweep the Cardinals. Cardinals are a decent baseball team. They're kind of like the Mariners, hovering around 500, a little bit over. If you win tomorrow, this is not the one I'm going to look back on and go, how couldn't you sweep them? Again, it goes back to the Angels. It goes back to the Tigers. I know the Tigers are better than the Mariners right now. My issue isn't that you lost some games to the Tigers. My issue is that you went 1-5 against the Tigers. You at least got to find a way to go 3-3 there. The 1-2 against the Marlins not acceptable. And I think the Angels just takes the cake, right? That's the ultimate one there. It's not so much the Cardinals, but they've put themselves in position where this loss is absolutely brutal. That's their own fault, right? You've put yourself in a position where you've got to sweep a team like the Cardinals because you couldn't salvage games against the Angels and whatnot. So, it's where this team is at. Hey, football tomorrow. Enjoy your football Sunday, everybody. Post-game recap for tomorrow's game may be up either very late tomorrow night or very early Monday. I'm going to be out hanging out with some friends, some family tomorrow, watching football all day. I'll definitely have the Mariners game on my tablet in the morning to follow along. So I will be watching, but just don't anticipate a early post-game recap tomorrow, because I won't be home. So I'll have that out later in the evening, night. I imagine the views are going to go down a little bit as football starts. But thank you all for being here with me all year. I have really enjoyed doing this. It doesn't look like this team is going to be making a playoff run. It's going to be sweet when they do, right? We'll be here together and it's going to be a lot of fun. But until then, we carry on and we just hope for better days. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let this team get you down. Hopefully get a Mike McDowell masterclass tomorrow. Knowing my luck, they won't. The Mariners will find a way to win. Who knows? I guess they can both win on the same day. That the Mariners and Seahawks did not win on the same day last year, I don't think. So maybe they can start tomorrow. That'd be great. Have a great night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Go Mariners. Peace.